It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my favorite version of the meta team right now. Now, the one that you guys probably know is Dark Cacao, Wildberry, Clotted Cream, Eclair, and Cotton. And though that is a very strong team, this team actually does it even better. So I want to say it's the stronger version of the team. Now, the toppings that we're running today is going to be high damage resistance on Wildberry and on Clotted Cream, just because the ricochet and the crowd control between the two of them is pretty important as far as how the team properly runs. But overall, Clotted Cream is actually going to be your damage dealer, even with running the almond setup. Oyster, the way I'm going to almost always run her is high cooldown. If I could put a higher damage resistance on her, that would make it even better. But regardless what it does it well. Cacao, almost always I'm going to run the critical toppings on him unless I find something that says otherwise. But main thing is he's got that high damage resistance, he's got that high critical point, and he's got some pretty good other random stats floating around. And then Cotton, of course, high cooldown. If I could do higher damage resistance, higher attack, I would do so. But the monocle is there for higher healing potentials, especially when you're fighting mirror teams, because your team is going to lose a lot of health pretty heavily, sometimes pretty quickly. And so that monocle helps with the debuff removal and the overall healing potential of the team. And then, of course, the scroll and the clock for the fast attacks with skill cooldowns and high power damage from the scroll. And the cooldown is there both for Cotton and for Oyster, because we want the max amount of minions to come out against our opponents. So here we go, we're going to fight them. And as you can see, Oyster is going to activate first, pushing out the minions to the front, giving that good crowd control. We get the heavy quick hits from Cacao and Clotted Cream, Wildberries helping damage resist our entire team, and then we take over the win. Super quick. Now, yet again, if I had higher damage resistance settings on Oyster, she would still be there, and therefore the whole team would survive. But against two speed units, which is Frost Queen, and I say she's a speed unit because she technically stops your team completely, but also Caramel Arrow, who definitely is a speed unit, we manage a healthy amount of damage from all of our teammates. Now, if we go look at a few other team setups, we fight them. This time, instead of Frost Queen, we're fighting against a Sea Fairy. They do have a level 10 scroll, so they are a little bit lower on the power level, but they have a pure vanilla for shields, and they have Sea Fairy for stuns and crowd control, and high damage potentials. But the Oyster minions that are going to come out really quickly, Clotted Cream's crowd control, we just absolutely melt their health bar away. And as you can see in the stats, which I'm about to pull up, what happens is Clotted Cream is mostly boosted by Oyster's critical percent and critical damage up, therefore contending very quickly in damage against the other team. Now, of course, their Sea Fairy did much more, but that is because of the weakness that Eclair provides. So it is an interesting comparison, because you could run Sea Fairy as well instead of Clotted Cream, but I mostly run Clotted for that front tank removal, which is very helpful in a lot of situations, versus the Sea Fairy stuns, which yet again is good, but it's hard to balance between them depending on what's going on. So last but not least, we will fight one other team and show you once more what it can do and how it can do. So this one's running a insignia, which means that they should heal every time we take something out. They are running all level 60 cookies, so that means that they are either inactive or just don't have the time to level that specific team up. We don't know, but we're going to fight it just to see what happens. It could be a huge difference just from that 10 levels, but it's always good to know. And so we can see, oh yeah, that health bar just completely melts away from that level 10 distance, even though they have the insignia, which is healing them. Just completely shredded. So as you can see, the level difference will, of course, greatly help your battle prowess. So if you're anywhere in the PvP arena fighting and you've got level advantage on them, you're going to have a huge lead. And as you can see here, pretty heavy damage from our three main units, which is Oyster, Cacao, and Clouded Cream. What are your thoughts on this version of the team? Do you like it with Eclair instead of Oyster better? If you do you want to elaborate on why? Is it because of the shields? Is it because of the weakness debuff? What's your reasoning for running Eclair instead of Oyster, other than just not having Oyster yet? Either way, thank you so much for stopping by. I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comments, and have a wonderful night.